$122 million. That is what the financial Freddy Krueger, BlackRock, and the financial boogeyman Citadel have raised, as well as the support of good old Governor Greg Abbott in order to bring a Texas stock exchange to Dallas. And a lot of people have a lot of feelings about this, and they're all valid. And it caused me to ask the question, could this actually be the answer to Texas' affordable housing crisis? And I know what you're gonna ask me, Stephen, are you on drugs? And the short answer is not today, but let us just imagine for a minute that we don't see the same scenario play out where the rich get richer and the poor gets pushed out of their neighborhoods and the average Texan suffers due to big money and big corporations coming in and sucking up more of the land and money and resources available in this great state. That's typically the story. Yes, a Texas stock exchange could bring a lot of high-paying jobs to the state of Texas, and those jobs are probably gonna go to people from out of state like California and New York, which Texans really seem to hate. I get it, because they want to benefit from the economic growth. Well, what's different here? Our good old Governor Greg Abbott has actually expressed his desire to eliminate property taxes for Texas homeowners altogether.
What we want to achieve in the state of Texas is to eliminate your property taxes. Make them go away.
And as a lot of you know, Texas has some of the highest property taxes in the nation. And we did actually see a really large cut, which saved some families like mine about $100 a month, which was great. But imagine a world where there are no property taxes at all. A lot of people are against this idea, and they say if we eliminate property taxes, then we're essentially flushing our schools down the drain, and then we would have to raise our sales tax by like double or triple in order to make up for that gap. And so that caused me to go and search, like, how much money does Texas actually make from property taxes? And the answer was crazy. So Texas in 2022 made $82 billion in just property taxes. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit hard to get rid of those completely and maintain a solid way of living. Yeah, I get that. And bringing a stock exchange to Texas is probably not gonna be enough to move the needle there. And there's a really good video on the channel How Money Works about the Texas Stock Exchange, and they describe an actual stock exchange period really, really well.
The New York Stock Exchange is really not much different to a farmer's market where businesses will pay the market organizer for the right to sell their stuff in a place with lots of customers. The only difference is that instead of beets and artisanal honey, they are selling shares in their company. So apart from a lot of regulatory paperwork, there is nothing too special about these companies. As long as a business gets approval from the Securities and Exchange Commission, there is nothing to stop them from establishing their own stock exchange wherever they want.
And it's worth diving deeper into that video to just get an overall picture of how a stock exchange works and how that might affect Texas. But this whole rabbit hole caused me to go and ask ChatGPT, hey, what would need to happen in order for Texas to make up a financial gap of $82 billion? And it spit out some answers. So the first answer is something that just it's not gonna happen. Apple, Amazon, and Google would need to relocate their headquarters and most of their employees here to Texas, and that could actually bring a big chunk of that gap down. We know that ain't gonna happen. What else could help us make up for that gap? And the other answers actually seemed pretty realistic. It said if we had massive growth in areas like technology and energy. Well, we're kind of on track there. Texas is a huge energy producer, like South Texas, Houston area, oil and gas, like that's what they do. if we were able to grow in that sector and add some more of the sustainable energy options as well, and then if you look around, Texas is trying to be a major player in the AI chip manufacturing world. So that's the tech. And if we are able to grow in that sector as well, in the way that I think is actually possible, Taylor, Texas is getting a massive, like mile-long Samsung chip manufacturing plant. And that will bring other companies as well who will be doing the same. Add that to the Texas Stock Exchange, which allows companies to list shares of their company for sale. A lot of those companies may actually move their hubs to Texas and grow financially due to the fact that they can now sell shares of their company. Well, you kind of got a perfect storm to help make up for that gap of 82 billion. But let's be real, right? 82 billion is a lot. So let's just cut it in half. Like, what if we didn't get rid of all the property taxes and we just got rid of half of it? Texas property taxes are high, and in places like the Houston area and Austin area, they hover right around the 2% mark. Like, they can get a little higher in some places and a little bit lower in others, but like, let's just make 2% our average. It's complicated, I do know this, but let's just keep it simple and clean. What if we just slice that in half? And what if we only had a 1% tax rate? Well, that would be one of the lowest in the country. And that actually seems like a more attainable goal. So what does that look like for the average homeowner in Texas? Well, on a $350,000 house with a 2% tax rate, that's about $7,500 a year in taxes. That's $625 a month on top of your principal payment for your mortgage, your interest rate, and your insurance. And then Lord knows, like, HOA fees don't help any of that. So if we were able to cut that in half, that would put over $300 a month back into the pockets of Texas homeowners. And that might not seem like a ton, but if you aggregate that over time, over the amount of the population, like, that is massive. And not only would it help property owners, it would also help new home buyers who want to qualify for a little bit more house. Like, now you can afford a bit more pricey house because your monthly payment is about $300 less than it would have been had the tax rate been 2%. And we totally don't want new companies coming in, raising prices and kicking Texans out of their homes. But if we had a lower tax rate and other safeguards in place, like the homestead exemption, which caps the amount that your property tax rate can raise over the course of a year, well, then that actually makes it a lot more sustainable for Texans to stay in their homes, even if the property values end up kind of going through the roof. The Texas Stock Exchange is not going to be the answer to affordable housing in and of itself. Like, we need a few other things to happen in order to create the perfect storm, in order for us to even be able to lower the property taxes. And then we also need politicians to do the thing that they normally don't do, and that is stick to the promises that they make. And we would also need big finance to come in and actually care about the average middle class American. And yeah, that normally doesn't happen either, but I guess it's nice to dream.
Dream.
So let me know what you think. Am I in la la land and just totally out there in my thinking? Or do you think this is something that could actually happen? And do you think that bringing a huge stock exchange to Texas could be a catalyst for more affordable housing via lower property taxes? I'm so curious to hear what you guys are going to say. If you are relocating to the Texas area, I am a mortgage broker and a real estate broker. I would love to hear about your real estate goals. If you are a local, you're thinking about buying or selling, please reach out. We would love to hear about how we can help. I also made a relocation guide for all of you people that are coming to the area to help save you a little bit of time on Google. My team and I put that together just for you. The link is in the description, and I'll also pin a comment so you can see that. I appreciate you spending some time here. I've got some other videos about the Texas housing market over here, so go and check those out. And this is not a goodbye. This is a I will see you on the next video. I'll catch you later. Peace.